the door of love and mercy, wondering if there's a place there for you. You know there's peace inside, yet still you're searching for someone who understands the pain you've been through. Well, the Father waits for you with open arms, and He's calling out your name. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. You'll find a place of rest in the arms of God. He's waited so long for your homecoming day. God knows the peace you need and the hurt you feel. He wants to hold you and wipe your tears away. Well, the door's unlocked, the lights are on. What are you waiting for? Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in.
I got it. Will the Father wait for you with open arms?
And He's calling out your name. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Thank you all so much, and welcome to Unity of Little Rock. I'm Amanda Blagg, the ministerial intern.
And I'm Jean McGee, and I'm not mic'd. I've been busy this morning running around. Welcome to Unity Church. We're a spiritual community providing the opportunity for transformation for each and every one of you through spiritual education, understanding, prayer, meditation, and all kinds of activity. And speaking of activity, our James is back. Yay. And we have had plenty of activity this week. Absolutely. We want to thank Pat Ward for helping us on Monday night, and Sandy for getting that together for the Oprah trailer on belief. I understand that was a wonderful event. And then Frank Crean provided for the spiritual living discussion group, and also we had the trailer then. And then we had a very special event on Friday. On Friday, we had our first concert, our fall series concerts. And thank you so much, Laura and Justin. It was so beautiful. And I must thank Olivia for the grounds. Oh, that night was just magical with all the tiki torches and a near full moon. Oh my goodness, it was just beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to another concert. And in fact, on the back of your bulletin, there's an announcement on October 17th. We will be having the next concert. And let's see, what else happened this week?
Well, yeah. On Saturday, we had a youth training program by Mary Grace Sorensen all the way from Houston. She's an LUT that came and helped us build our youth program. And Buddy was there, and Denise was there, and you were there. There were 10 of us.
So it was really wonderful. And I stuck a little affirmation in your bulletin, and I thought we could say a couple of these now. The first affirmation is the one that James actually told me on the phone when he accepted to come here to Little Rock. And this week brought me way back to that, because listen to what this says. Together, we can only move forward. No fear, no hesitation, let the love grow. And I really do believe you brought us back to that this week. And all of us working together, it really showed. So let's say that together. Together, we can only move forward. No fear, no hesitation. Let the love grow. And then I want you all to hold in prayer our children's program, our youth program, because we really do want to build this. If you could have been a part of yesterday, it's amazing. There's a child in all of us, right? And I think James is going to reveal some of what we did yesterday. It was a little embarrassing maybe, or just fun.
I'm not embarrassed. No apologies over here. Yes. I'm going to do it right. Oh, yes, yes. So at any rate, I'm going to say this, and then you all can say it with me. With abundant resources and teachers, we create an imaginative, engaging youth program for the spiritual development of our children. Let the love grow. All righty. Now, I don't know, would y'all be willing to stand and wave at everybody? Here's our children now. We've got a couple of little girls in addition. All right, and we've got, is it Lily back there? Is that who? Oh, Khalees, excuse me. Okay. See, growing already. All right, let's say this again together with good feeling. With abundant resources and teachers, we create an imaginative, engaging youth program for the spiritual development of our children. Let the love grow. Oh, wow. Thank you. Now, we want to remind you, we've got the Christ candle lit. We're just already radiant within. And our prayer box and our prayer chaplain today. That would be Grayson Sloan. And always she's available after service if you want to share prayers with her. So please, we'll remind you again, but Grayson will be there for us. And we have a daily word today. And didn't you love this daily word? Absolutely. It's kind of the point of us all getting here together. Today's daily word is depth. And what we do is we come together in order to explore the depth within that leads to God.
So let's say together, I discover living waters in the deep well of my soul. And now, let's greet each other. Let's look at that depth within.
We got to do our statement of being. If you'll please stand for our statement of being.
You were just testing the intern.
Together, I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with His perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And while you happen to be up, as if by design, greet each other.
Mother, there's too many of you
crying. Brother,
There's
far too many of you dying.
You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer. Only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Picket lines,
Brother,
picket signs,
sister,
punish me
father,
with brutality.
mother,
Just talk to me,
brother,
then you can say,
sister,
what's going on?
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 thinks we're wrong. But who are they to judge us? Simply 'cause our hair is long. Got to find a way to bring some understanding here today. Picket signs,
Mother,
picket lines,
sister,
punish me,
brother,
just talk to me,
sister,
and you can say,
brother,
what's going on?
what's going on? What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's going on?
Going on? What's going on? What's going on? Thank you. If you will all please return to your places. If you all please return to your places and join us for a meditation song by our lovely Laura Lynn and our equally lovely Olivia. I get to say this because I have the microphone and they can't attack me on stage. So if you'll please join us for this beautiful meditation song.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, even so, it is well with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul, with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul.
In Psalms 49:3, we read, "The meditation of my heart shall be understanding." The meditation of my heart shall be understanding. At Unity, we know that the cornerstone is prayer and meditation. And we relax with that understanding. The prayer and the meditation of my heart shall be understanding. And we seek understanding now. We seek connection with the divine, with that divine, with God. We know that there is no spot that God is not. So we connect. We set that intention now to connect with God. In this sweet time of prayer, I relax and still my thoughts. Still my thoughts. Be still and know. Just say that to yourself. Be still and know. Be still and understand. This understanding comes from our authentic self, our true self. Maybe not the self that we thought we were in the past, the agreements that we had made with ourselves. At some point, maybe we have let those fall away. Back to the true understanding of our hearts. Take a deeper breath now. Become aware of the breath. Knowing that it is the breath of life moving in and through us together, connected as one. We release any thoughts of distraction or concerns, letting the sounds around just fall away. We become fully present of the moment. That was the church of Jesus, was the here and now, the moment. We enter this quiet place, the center of our beings, and listen for the still small voice of Spirit. For the inaudible, yet the whisper. That whisper of truth in our hearts. That truth that comes straight from the divine. Continue being aware of this breath, the Spirit. Hear the peaceful assurance, I am loved. Feel the presence of pure love. God is love. Our innate nature is love. Feel that in your heart space now. Relax into this understanding, this truth, the divine, as we enter into the sacred and sweet silence.
The trump shall resound.
Amen and amen. It is well. It is well. That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Wouldn't you like to just get into that space, that calm, easy space every day? You can. It is well, and it is exciting here today. I'm excited. The week we've had was one of the most exciting weeks since I've been here. And you may look around and see some people wearing sweats. And if you're brand new today, we have, I know at least one person from Seattle visiting with us today. Thank you. And thank you all to our first time. In fact, if it is your first time, raise your hand. I just want to see first timers looking around. Raise your hand high. Yeah, very good. Outstanding. It's good to see Chris back there. I know he does music, and you guys came a little bit late. And were you afraid I was going to make him sing today for his first time? We happen to throw people in pretty quick around here. So it has been an exciting week, though. Monday was an incredible day with discussion about Oprah's new movie coming out, about belief and the beliefs that we have. And every day we had something incredible going on. Great spiritual discussion group Thursday night. And then, like Gene mentioned, Friday night, our first ever fall concert at Unity. And it was moonlight. It was music, tiki torches. And I've got some pictures, actually, to prove it, just in case. Because you know what they say, if there's no pictures, then it didn't happen. So I'm going to get Sandy just to flip through these. Yeah, so here's the duo singing beautiful tunes up there. And Laura, raise your hand just to make sure everybody knows. Great job. Great job. A lot. So incredible. The first thing everybody said is, can we do it again? Can we do it again? And your music is just so divinely inspired. And I know most of it was original, or all of it was original that you guys sang. And his hair is not on fire. That was the tiki torch. Somebody spreading a blanket back there. We have dogs, two dogs running around. That was important. Picnic blankets. Children wrestling. Spectators, blankets. This guy has a zero gravity chair back there. I said, we'll give you a blanket and we'll wake you in the morning. It's all good. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and they're doing selfies back there with a camera phone. And it was just so wonderful. And oh, look at you guys. So you didn't know I took that picture, did you? Sneaky. Yep, sneaky. And that was at the beginning of the night. We ended up having quite a few more people. And look at Amanda, just radiant. She's like, wow, boom, modeling the whole thing there that night. It was so cool. So I'm glad we got to use the garden. And then, this is what unity is all about. Do not be afraid to make a fool of yourself, because you will. This is a technique that they're teaching the teachers for the youth on how to get the youth's attention. I mean, that's gold right there. And this particular move, I'm not going to make you do today, but it's called the drain. The drain move, right? And she had a spiritual name for it too. The conscious conditioner or something like that is what she said. But Buddy somehow escaped the picture. He's over there to the right. He got cropped out, but man, that is something to do at the workplace right there. Absolutely. Today we begin a series that I'm excited about. This series is from a book. Speaking of excitement, this book is all about excitement, from Don Miguel Ruiz. If Judy Robinson here, she's been working with me on my Spanish, so she's informed me I got to roll my R. It's Ruiz. So I'm still working on my Spanish. My French is pretty decent. My Greek is horrible, but my Spanish, I'm working on it. So he wrote a book called The Four Agreements. It was a #1 bestseller for 7 years with the New York Times. And then he followed up with the Four Agreements with the Fifth Agreement. And that book is doing extremely well. So we're going to do the Four Agreements, and then we're going to add on the Fifth Agreement and see how does it tie into some unity teachings, how does it tie into the Bible and Scripture, and it's a very exciting study. He actually, Don, was in a car accident when he was younger, and that promptly, after the car accident, promptly led him to think about every belief that he has. It led him to his first conversation was with guess who? His mother. It was his mother that helped him start developing this moral understanding, and he also started to question what his beliefs were about God and his connection to God. And the Four Agreements came out and were so popular that even the U.S. Air Force gave him a medal, a medal, and it was engraved with the Four Agreements on there from the Air Force. And he went on a journey to explore the human mind and spirituality from an indigenous and scientific perspective. The basis was from what is called Toltec wisdom, which was ancient sayings of the Toltec, which was from Mexico, an indigenous population from Mexico. And it's really, really fascinating, and he combined it with modern insights, with this traditional wisdom, and that's what he came up with. I was introduced to the book in 2000, the year 2000, and at first when I was reading it, I was like, well, this is pretty good, but it kind of seems like common sense to me, is what I thought at the time. And it is common sense, but it's way more. It's much, much more. And each time you read a book like this, like many books, as your consciousness expands, as your understanding and your wisdom expands, it's like reading a whole nother book. Wouldn't you agree with that, Kathy? That's what we were talking about at the concert. She's reading it yet. How many times have you read it? 12? Before? You're on your second time now. But it ties into the Bible in a wonderful way and the unity teachings. And you may have heard this quote, but you never knew where it came from. Death is not the biggest fear we have. Our biggest fear is taking the risk to be alive. The risk to be alive and express what we really are. And isn't that why we're here? I mean, we have to be on this planet for a reason, and we have to relearn who we really are. And we do that when we turn inward and we're able to connect with the divine. But we end up with the thing we talked about at our discussion groups is how we develop all these other beliefs over time that in a way were based on society, religion, or these other things, and we end up getting a little bit further away from who we really are and our authentic self. So that's really what this series is about, is getting back to being able to express who we really are. You know, the agreements that we come up with for ourselves is really, it depends on where we are in life. Judy, I'm going to need a little more work on my Spanish. I got corrected. Oh, you are? Okay. Just okay, let me go in there and okay. Okay, thank you. I'm getting there. The agreements that we make with ourselves and the agreements we make with each other is where we are in our lives. The example of that would be adolescence was a challenge. I'm not looking at you.
It still is. Okay.
Yeah. I throw out adolescence because I can go back to that time so clearly, and it was so confusing because I wasn't exactly a child anymore, but I wasn't exactly an adult either. I remember my mother saying, "You're not a child anymore. Stop acting like it." And I wanted to say, well, okay. Well, who am I then? And that, when we trying to get back to our authentic selves, I think we find ourselves asking that question pretty often. Who am I? Am I what the kids at school say who I am? Am I what media says I am? Who am I really? And as we go on that process to discover who we are really, we begin to what? Wake up. Wake up and smell the burnt toast. We begin to wake up. There's a story about a man who went to the door and knocked to wake his son up. And he said, wake up in there. And his son said, I don't want to. And he said, the father said, wake up, you got to go to school. He said, well, I don't want to. And the father said, why not? And the son said, I've got 3 reasons. Number 1, school is so boring. Number 2, the kids do not like me. And they're mean to me and they tease me. And number 3, school, I just hate school. I just do not like school. So guess what the father says? Well, I've got 3 reasons why you've got to go to school. Number 1 is it's your duty. Number 2 is you're 45 years old. Number 3 is you're the principal. Many people have said that they want to get out of kindergarten, you know. When you're in kindergarten, you can't wait to get out of it. I want out of kindergarten. But the problem is, in reality, many people, they never actually leave kindergarten. Because they always believe that their agreements that they have with other people are based on what those people are doing to them. You broke my toys, I want my toys fixed. Give me my toys back. You know, I want my job back, and it's your fault I don't have my job back. I want my money back. I want my wife back. I want my toys back. So in a sense, that's the agreements that they've started to make with their life as they went from that adolescence, and teen gets even more confusing, and then the adult years and that type of thing. So the trick is, these agreements that I'm going to go over the next few weeks are a really important help to help us get back to the divine, get back to who we really, really are. And Charles Fillmore here says, Charles Fillmore was the co-founder of Unity. And he said, our manner of deciding upon any statement as true or false is to apply the mental bias with which heredity, religion, or social custom has environed us. Now, does that sound familiar to anybody on the conversations that we had this week in our discussion groups? Charles Fillmore was saying it 100 years ago or more, right there. Environed us. So here we are trying to figure out if a statement is true or false, which is how we make our agreements with other people and ourselves, agreements about ourselves. So often is based on the things that Charles Fillmore says, heredity, religion, or social custom. And he goes on to say that that's not really a good thing. Because where should we find and make the agreements from? What place? From within, right? Turning from within, going to that heart space like we did in meditation, to that place of love. And you begin there. That's the place to begin. Plan L, right? So here are the 4 agreements. These are the 4 agreements, and like I said, there's a 5th agreement, but I'm not going to tell you what it is today, because I will reveal it a little bit later, and next week or the next week. And we do have the book, the 5th agreement, back in the bookstore, which actually covers the 4 agreements plus the 5th agreement. Or you can download it on your Kindle or whatever. Do yourself a favor and go back and read this book. If you read it years ago, like I did in 2000, or if you are going to read it for the first time. So the 4 agreements then are: be impeccable with your word, don't make assumptions, don't take anything personally, always do your best. Now, that sounds pretty easy, right? I mean, it sounds like common sense. It sounds like it shouldn't be that difficult to do those things. I mean, speak impeccable with your word. I mean, most people say, well, that means don't lie. Well, I'm not a liar, so that's not hard. But I think it gets a lot more deep. It gets a lot deeper than that. He calls be impeccable with your word. He actually goes on to say, be impeccable with your word. Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. I think that through time and through the agreements that we've made with ourselves, many times it's become so like a habit that we don't really realize, we don't really think about, oh, is the conversation I just had going in the direction of truth and love, or is it going in another direction? I hope that as we go through this series, that we all begin to really take a self-inventory, to really inventory ourselves with conversations that we have during the day, and we might say, I don't know if I was going in the direction of truth and love with that. Maybe I was doing something else. I got caught up in the moment. I got caught up because I got caught up in going against myself with blame or judgment toward myself or others. And I wasn't going in the direction of truth, but that's okay, because in filmmaking we call it take two. We can do a take two and pick it up and maybe redirect our path and our course and get back moving in the direction of truth and love and being authentic right here with ourselves, being authentic. I think it's a tall order. And I saw this picture here, and that's a tall order right there. That's a professional, famous volleyball player holding the ball just a little bit out of reach. Just a little bit out of reach. And sometimes if you really challenge yourself, and especially with this first agreement, which the author said that's the hardest. Be impeccable with your word. Sometimes it may just seem a little bit out of reach because people around you may not be doing it, so it may be hard for you to do at first. So it's a tough, tall order, but maybe it won't have to be for you. Throughout history, a person's word has always held an immense amount of power. A lot of power, that energy and that intention that you speak with. But it's also been synonymous with honor, right? What is your honor? How is your honor? So that spoken word. And interestingly enough, I want to show you the commandment here. This is which commandment is this? Anybody? I know I got some Bible scholars in the audience here today. Anybody want to take a guess? Dun, 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 dun. Number 9. Ninth, but if you grew up Catholic, it is number 8. Yeah, it's different. Yeah, 8. You win for 500. This is the laughing Jesus, because this was the Jesus we used yesterday, right? In the training for the youth. She used laughing Jesus. So you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Doesn't that sound a lot like be impeccable with your word? Doesn't it sound a lot like that? The discussion, I always like to read opposing views with theology. I don't want to always, some people watch news that really support what they believe and then call it news, call it fact. They may want to reconsider that agreement because most news is based on ratings and things like that, right? So you have to research it, you have to dig a little bit deeper, and that's what I try to do when I prepare for a lot of these things. And I came across an interesting thread where a guy said that the 5 agreements was actually sorcery, witchcraft. And he railed against it. I said, wow, that's interesting. And for a split second, I started making an agreement with myself that maybe he was, maybe I should back off of discussing this in church, And then I started reading, I started looking at it, and somebody else came back. And one of his reasons was because he felt like it was very narcissistic. But somebody else came along and said, I think what is more biblical than integrity? And being true to yourself and integrity. And where your yes means yes and your no means no. Or even learning how to say the word no. Many times we want to be we have a hard time with that. We have a hard time saying no. We kind of just want to say yes when sometimes a polite no maybe would have done the job. Maybe would have been the way to go. So let's just practice that one time together. Let's just say no together. Really? No. That was polite. Nobody passed out. That was pretty good. So I think that, what we talked about in our discussion groups this week also was how many commonalities that there are in faiths and in people's path up the mountain that there are many commonalities, because you can look at one thing you don't agree with, like one agreement that some theology or some religion has made, and you believe, you've been taught that because of the way you were raised, and then somebody else brings up a opposing or another idea, and maybe you just shut down. I'm sure that's happened to me here before, where I might say something and it goes against so much what somebody believes, that opposed to just kind of putting that on the side and saying, I don't really resonate with that, I'm just going to put it on the side. Instead, they just kind of go like this, and they sprint out. And, that happens. But so I'm going to encourage you to just really open your mind and see how this can impact your life. Speaking of that, I saw this come across on Facebook, so it's got to be true. It said, everybody knows what a PDF is, right? A document, PDF. It says, PDF becomes the 4th most popular religion. And then he Googled it. He Googled, how do I convert to a PDF, right? So if you want to convert a document to a PDF, he Googled it. And it says, the choices that came up was, how do I convert to Judaism? How do I convert to Islam? How do I convert to Catholicism? How do I convert to PDF? So those are the choices that came up. Huh? Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny, definitely. So what we are talking about, this commandment in Exodus, and that you see throughout Scripture, is really a continuation of the Golden Rule. The Golden Rule. And the Golden Rule is in Judaism, Islam, PDF. It's in everything. So it's a commonality that we all should study. And you all know the Golden Rule, right? Now I want to read it to you because if you're going to study about how to be impeccable with your word, if you're going to study about how to be impeccable to your word and don't go against yourself, and how to go in the direction of truth and love, then obviously the Golden Rule is going to be in your mind when you're having conversations with people. Am I employing the Golden Rule? And in Judaism it says, what is hateful to you, you do not do to your fellow man. What is the entire law? All the rest is this is the entire law. All the rest is just commentary. Thought that was interesting. In the Hindu culture, this is the sum of duty. Do not to others that which, if done to thee, would cause pain. Do not. And then, a lot of people fear Islam. There's a lot of discussion about that in the news and this type of thing. If you really study it, the vast numbers of people that study Islam are very, very peaceful people. It's the extremists that we have trouble with, right? It's the extremists, but that's true in any religion, okay? And in Islam, it's no one of you is a believer until he desires for his brother what he desires for himself. So when you're having a conversation, do you have that energy and intention behind your word? Do you have that intention? And of course, Christianity, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Or you may have heard it, treat others the way you wish to be treated, right? From Luke 6:31. The blame and criticism that goes out if you just walk into a public place and you just hear this, blame and criticism, I call it useless talk. It's just useless talk. It's useless. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't help anyone. It doesn't do anything. And it depletes us of our energy. And it rewires our brain. It wires in our brain in a way that we probably don't want it to be wired. That's what it is. That's what it does. So let's get impeccable with our word. And as humans, let's help to stop all the blame and criticism. And while we're at it, let's just stop the gossip too. Being impeccable with your word also goes towards the commitments that you make in your life. The commitments that you make when you commit to somebody. When you kind of say, when somebody comes along and asks you to do something and you make the commitment, you kind of say yes because you think you need to. We've all said yes too often when a polite what would have worked? A polite no would have worked. And I found that this is predominant in certain cities and countries in my travels more than others. And I've been to cities where it's kind of shocking I mean, it is absolutely shocking. When they make a commitment, it really just kind of seems like a theory. I mean, I feel like I need to call them like 5 or 6 times to make sure that they're going to do it. And you're shaking your head big. Have you been to countries and cities like that? Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the South. And, so when I remember just, traveling is such a good education. And I've been to places and they'll say, yeah, I'll be there. And then, there can be reasons why the person doesn't show up, but it's like they never really intended to be there. I'm sure you guys have had this experience a little bit. The way that this gets more dicey and challenging for us is the word impeccability. The word impeccability is what makes this really challenging, exciting. Impeccability means without sin. Because the word peccable in Latin comes from the word peccatus. And peccatus means sin. And the M part means without. So it means without sin. So speaking of sin, what does sin mean? You're like, wow, we're talking about sin today. I knew James was working it in there. Sin. Oh, gosh. Now, certainly you guys have heard the word self-inflicted nonsense, but that's not the true Hebrew. The Hebrew word sin comes from the word het. Het. And het means literally to err, like E-R-R, to err, to miss the mark. To miss the mark. So in Jesus' day, in contemporary days of Jesus, they would actually, archery, that's what they would yell, het, when they would miss the mark. So it's really kind of cool. It's to miss the bullseye. Bullseye. So they would yell, het. So it did not mean, in that day, it did not mean to do evil. That was not the word of the day. I mean, that wasn't the language of the day, to do evil. That's not what sin meant. When I was growing up, my mother would always explain to me that, you don't have to be worried or shamed, and like she was growing up, that God is going to punish me. She said, God is not going to punish you. You do a pretty good job of doing that yourself, of punishing yourself. And so when we miss the mark, evil could come. I mean, there's certainly situations where people miss the mark and some evil follows, and certainly consequences follow, right? I mean, when the gentleman broke in, we didn't really have to punish him because he punished himself when he broke into our church. And I don't know what turmoil he went through with that, but I do know he's in jail right now. And I found that out, and jail is not fun. So there's consequences behind sometimes when we miss that mark. But like with my Spanish, when I speak it and miss the mark a little bit, I have a chance to do over and to get it right. And that's what we got to do. Get back on that spiritual path, and let's get it right. And let's get impeccable with our word. I love how, Pat, you talked about in our Monday night or Thursday night, I can't remember which, you talked about it, when you went into that place of what am I, who am I? And you did that, and you went to the hospital, right? Were you in the hospital? Maybe that was somebody else's story, but you went to the hospital, or you, at some point, you came to this conclusion that I am a child of God, right? And Mia, was that your story? Yeah, okay. So Mia, like I said, it's her first time, so we'll point you out, use an example, break in gently. But I loved your story about that, where you said, you woke up in the hospital and you said, I am a child of God. That's how unity started back in the late 1800s, with that affirmation, I am a child of God, I do not inherit sickness. That was a dramatic change, a dramatic aha understanding for her that changed her life. So when you ask yourself, who am I? And then you realize, when you realize that the Bible verses that you used to be scared of, I know you said that, Pat, that you grew up scared of certain Bible verses, then what happens with that is you get shame and guilt, And you become where you actually start going against yourself. So see how it circles back to what this be impeccable with your word and don't go against yourself is? That's what he's talking about. Don't go against yourself with sin by missing the mark and missing not being impeccable with your word. Don't go against yourself. Speak truth. Be authentic. It's incredible to speak truth to yourself and to be able to do that. And then when you're doing that, it's magical, because I believe that you really begin to find out, what am I? Who am I? And you start from that authentic, wonderful place. Emily Cady says, since God is omnipresent, Emily Cady was a writer for Unity, and she said, since God is omnipresent and omniscient, put aside forever that there's this adverse power that is against you. Just put that aside. Like my mother said, don't worry about that. Because when you sin and you miss the mark, you're doing it to yourself. When you're not being impeccable with people, that's what's happening. It's like Charles Fillmore also said, he said the church of Jesus is here and now. So it's hard to have the here and now if we are not truly being impeccable. So before we close, I want Amanda to come up, because I made these 5 points, and I believe, are they in your, take a look in your bulletin. And so these are the points I want you to take home and stick them on your mirror, or I know your mirror is probably getting pretty crowded if you've posted everything that we've, you don't need, you can see yourself from within. You don't need a mirror anymore to do that. You are the mirror. Ruiz, Don Miguel, says that he compares it to a smoky mirror, actually. When you are not following these 5 agreements, it's like when you talk to somebody, it's like they're a reflection of you. We all, Truth Unity students, understand that, right? When you're talking to somebody, a situation, it's a reflection of you. If you're not seeing them clearly, if you're not seeing a situation clearly, then it's hard for you to be impeccable. He calls that the smoky mirror. So I believe that these points can help us remove the smoke so that we can see a true, accurate reflection of what's really going on, which makes us judge less, blame less, criticize, gossip less. So I asked Amanda to read these out and just see how you feel, see how they see how they wash over you here. So go ahead.
The word is not just a sound or a written symbol. The word is a force. It is the power you have to express and communicate, to think, and thereby to create the events in your life. Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the gift that comes directly from God. Through the word, you express your creative power. It is through the word that you manifest everything, regardless of what language you speak. The word is the most powerful tool you have as a human. It is the tool of magic. But like a sword with two edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. Being impeccable with your word is the correct use of your energy. It means to use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. Learning to be impeccable with your word can change your whole life. It can lead you to personal freedom, to huge success and abundance. It can take away all fear and transform it into joy and love.
Thank you. How's that feel, Jeff?
Feels real good.
Jeff has been on an incredible journey. You know, most of you know that he was in the hospital for a month early this year. And we talk about how devastation sometimes bring about change. Jeff has been a truth student anyway for a long time. But sometimes we have an experience in our life that forces us to go even to a whole nother level of being awake. Wake up. And one day Jeff was driving down the road to go do a gig in Lubbock, Texas after this surgery, and something happened that was so profound and so amazing that he doesn't even, it was like a Close Encounters of the Third Kind experience. Right on cue, see? Yeah, it was like this experience where after that, he is able to write a song like this. I mean, it just comes to him. Just comes to him. And that's what I think happens when we don't have to have a devastating event. We can have magic happen in our life from this. Because first we can use what Unity calls discernment around this in everything that we do. When we are blessing others, when we are blessing people, we take that energy into the conversation. And if people are gossiping around you, bless them and walk away or whatever. You don't. It's just not necessary. It's the other direction. So let's have the magic in our life and have this experience where all this truth and awakening is happening, just like what's going on for you, because then it helps you do what? Deal with challenges.
Be the authentic me.
Be the authentic you, and your challenges have not stopped since then. In fact, you had a huge challenge hit you after that. But here's the thing. God doesn't give you a challenge you can't handle. And so Moses, you couldn't have handled all that challenge that he got after the burning bush. Instead, he had all that wandering he had to do. Okay? But this can fast track us. This type of thing, these 5 agreements, and it's the things that we're studying, and the things that we put our intention and energy can help fast track us to be able to feel that magic where you're having the song of life coming through you, where you're having the words that Jeff wrote in the song. Joy be the source of your art, a winding 18 inches from the head to the heart. And that's the way it really is. Namaste.
Be impeccable with your word, higher than what is seen, deeper than what is heard. To be less than true is wasteful and absurd. Therefore be impeccable with your word. Let love frame the words that you share. Be wise and discreet as you move light and air. You would not be talking if you didn't care. So let love frame the words that you share. Let joy be the source of your art, a winding 18 inches from the head to the heart. Every single ending is also a new start. So let joy be the source of your art. I am that I am is your source. The path you are on is a sanctified course. Eternal is God's grace, a just and loving force. Let love be the source of your sight. Remove the shadows from your life. Remove the obstacles that impair your sight. Let go of the burdens that handicap your flight. Remove the shadows from your sight. Be impeccable with your word. Higher than what is seen, deeper than what is heard. To be less than true is wasteful and absurd. So be impeccable with your word.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Be impeccable. That's beautiful. We're working to get a CD, or we've started those efforts to get a CD together of all the wonderful hits of our singing team. And we may have to have a whole box set because you guys are doing so much. And thank you, Sandy, for the beautiful slideshow there. And I might ask the Reverend Mother to come up and help me bless the offerings. Got to take advantage of you being here, get your energy up here. Now, have you had an agreement on any houses? Yeah. She's kind of looking around, feeling out the market, you know, seeing about Little Rock being a second home or a first home for her. So, was it fun?
Haven't yet.
Exhausting?
Did he give you all the real definition of the word sin?
Yes.
You did? What did you say it was?
Het is the Hebrew word that means err, miss your mark. But here's the Reverend Mother telling me what the real definition of sin is. Ready?
The Southern definition of the word sin is self-inflicted nonsense.
Oh, I did say that.
He
Actually.
said it, yeah.
I just said there was no Hebrew word for those words. So I went deeper.
Just be sure.
I want to go to the Aramaic.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure we get all these principles right.
Yes. Yeah. We as with many different most churches and spiritual centers during the summer, a little bit lean months with offerings. So I just want to again thank you, all of those of you that are kind of helping us catch up now with offerings to help us do the ministry that we love and do the ministry that we do. And thank you from the bottom of our heart. And also thank you to all the new visitors. And hope you will watch us on live stream back in Seattle or wherever you may be. And certainly I hope to see you visitors again. All right. Would you like to bless us and bless our offerings today? So come on down.
You know, there is the law of giving and receiving, and they're really one and the same. And as we give, we do receive. And when we give with that heart, that where we would love to give more than we feel we can. And out of that, I encourage people to stretch. Just stretch. If you want your cup to overflow, that's the key. In teaching prosperity for many years, if we stay cautious, the universe stays cautious. But when we go full out and do our work, then the universe responds. And I know already from all that you've done here and the time that James has been here, you're doing that. So you don't need another lecture or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not something we really talk about much here. We don't really talk about money very much and that kind of thing because we know the laws of abundance, but it's good to remind.
The neat thing about Unity is it doesn't talk about money. It talks about money as energy.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And so I was sitting back here singing, every little cell in my body is happy, every little cell in my body is well. And it's true, and it's the same thing with money. If there's not enough money in the household, start praising it, start playing it, and do that work. So let's affirm our offertory statement together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And that's in every way.
Amen.
Yeah.
I can do all things through Christ. Deep within there is no doubt. I can do all things through Christ. My soul proclaims a joyful shout. Let go, let God, then let God go. God moves us all with love divine. Let go, let God, then let God go. What's mine is yours, as yours is mine. I perceive the Christ in you with spirit sensibilities. I perceive the Christ in you as we share sweet serenity. Peace and joy are here and now, and where and when and there and then. Peace and joy are here and now, as we all pray from deep within. Be still and know that I am God, a teacher, Savior, strengthens me. Be still and know that I am God, surrendering will set us free.
Feel free to try it yourself.
I can do all things through Christ. Deep within there is no doubt. I can do all things through Christ. My soul proclaims a joyful shout.
Thank you. You'll help us do announcements? Many of us have our work boots on, if you've noticed, and sweats and dressed down to have a work party today. We're going to paint the front foyer, a little bit of the bookstore, and we're going to do some stuff outside, and it's get our hands into Mother Earth, and it's going to be fun. So for whoever didn't throw on a work shirt and you want to go home and come back, join the party after potluck.
Plenty of food.
Good.
So
Stay and eat. If you didn't bring anything, it's
enjoy.
okay. Help us eat this food. Join us, please. Even though we love leftovers.
You know, I'm so glad you talked about the impeccable word. Grace and Sloan and I are bringing a national leader in the nonviolent communication movement here in January. And we may be doing some events, some little mini classes up to that point, so you can know more about that. But it so fits with that first agreement in the impeccable word.
It really does. I kept thinking about nonviolent communication as I was preparing today. Yeah. So that's going to be awesome. Yeah.
So we have today the work day, and really compared to last week, not as much going on, but we do have a healing circle coming up and other events that will be going along. And there is something special that one of our members is doing this week we want you to be aware of. Jeannie is going to be in a pageant.
Whoa.
And it's this Wednesday, and it's the Queen pageant for and you're not sure.
You're just going to show up.
It is going to be at Pulaski Heights United Methodist Church, which is on Woodlawn, and it is at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, September 30th.
It's an annual pageant that's held.
Okay.
Okay.
And
The first one, and then there's a second one. There's a area one, and then there is the state one.
Okay. Yeah, that could be fun. What if a fun that would be another first. We have a lot of firsts around here going on, so that
So
could be
we
another
would have our own
first.
a queen.
Yeah,
So,
great.
are there any other announcements?
And I-
Frank?
I've already talked to Laura, and for those of you who missed the spectacular one for forensic aviation.
Hold on. All I heard was spectacular.
Spectacular, absolutely. Had a spectacular performance. I'm sorry that everybody that's here now wasn't here then. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a replay on that on 30th day of October. It's going to be in South Bologna, which is just
The Metropolis.
yeah, in the metropolis, and we're going to have food, you know, not pancakes, that's my favorite thing. Hamburgers, hot dogs, that kind of stuff. It's going to be a little bit potluckish too, and we're going to have a bonfire. I've already got the wood ready, and weather permitting, Laura and Justin are going to entertain us.
That's great, and it's going to be
Okay.
on a Friday night this time. We've done this bonfire before. It's always very popular and fun. Very good time, so that's great. But we also have a concert next month, also here, back in the garden. Awesome. Thank you, Frank. Thank you, sir.
That 30th is a Friday night.
Yeah.
Usually eat around 6 o'clock, so people that work until 5 have time to get there, okay?
Very good. All right. I believe we are ready. Okay. Well, let's all stand and let's just grab a hand across the aisle. Just grab. Yeah, we're going to go across the aisle today and send the intention of peace to the world as we sing. Just grab as many hands as you can. There you go. And don't forget, Grayson is up at the front. If you need a special prayer or if you need a prayer request, if you want to pray with someone, Grayson can do that and will take you straight to the gates of heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. Very good. All right. Okay, let's do our prayer protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. That's okay. Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
This is new. Okay.
That's good. Hey. Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth. Peace that was meant to be. God and we let us be with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, this be my joyous vow. To take each other and make each moment peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Yay, God. Thank you.
I didn't mean to knock on your phone.
It's all right.
What up, bud?
It would have been interesting if the live stream people were seeing that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a Born Identity movie or something.
I haven't found anything yet, but
Good to see you again. It's been forever. Seems like years.